Twitter and has leaned into this idea that, really served his father so well, that politics nowadays in a very polarized media environment, people basically see it as being about the delivery of emotions. It's about, being in favor of people who are fighting for you and making the other side mad and angry. And like that is like the end of, it's the intent of politics. It's not a means to the end. It's the end in itself. And Trump Jr., I think, most gets that of any of the Trump kids.
Let's take a look at the future. Is he going to come back with some kind of another escapade, another version of The Apprentice for his next campaign?
I have wondered about this a lot because, we were all wondering this in 2016 where, all the reasonable people in the world were assuming that he wasn't going to get elected. And, is he just doing this to get another TV show? I would tend to think that having been president, having, achieved all this, it would be kind of a come down to him to just host another reality show. It would be maybe sort of embarrassing or humiliating. I could see him trying to do what was often speculated that he would do if he lost the 2016 election, which is to try to found a conservative media empire, a competitor to Fox News, some sort of Trump TV, which ironically, I would say, because of the business realities of, establishing new cable networks like that, I think founding your own competitor to Fox News is possibly a more difficult enterprise than running for president and winning.
As I was reading the book, I had a flashback. Tomorrow Never Dies, the James Bond movie, where the guy puts his own news in. I keep having flashbacks of, we're going to create the news, and then we're going to report the news, and it kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Yeah.
There's a lot of, Donald Trump is an interesting figure to me as somebody who studies, media and television and how they intersect with politics, because his election just showed that, the power of media and politics had reached the point that you could go directly from hosting a show on NBC to becoming president with no intermediate step. That was like, it was a landmark step. But it's not like he invented it. This idea that in a society where so much of our life takes place through the media, that if you control the media, you control politics. We have seen that, exercised in different ways by different people. In Italy, Silvio Berlusconi, ran the most powerful media organization there and became leader of the country. Roger Ailes, way back, who has been intertwined with Donald Trump's life at many points through Fox News. He originally started out as Richard Nixon's media guru, and one of the first things that he did was to produce these primetime audience Q&A forum specials for Nixon, because his idea was, the news is not friendly to us, so we're going to make our own news. This is going to be our news show. And, that really worked for Nixon. And he applied, really, I think, a lot of his insights from running political news into founding Fox News. And, that's, we all know where that went from there. Michael Bloomberg, who is a media mogul with his own tremendously influential media empire that he has made billions from, is now running for president. So, whatever happens with Trump, and whether Trump had come along or succeeded or not, that power and influence of media as like a route to power, like that's going to stay with us.
How do you think the tweets are doing for him? I mean, do you think they're effective, or do you think they defeat him a little bit and, put him back into place? Because he writes some weird tweets.
Yeah. I think they're effective, but not necessarily strategic in the way that he might want them to be, which is to say, in a way, I think that he does the tweets for he's sort of addicted to this endorphin rush of, the constant reaffirmation by his most dedicated supporters. Like he is somebody who has always just been into keeping score, whether it was his ratings on The Apprentice, which any TV critic will tell you he lied about creatively and brazenly, just like anything, or whether it's overestimating the number of stories that are actually in Trump Tower. Like he has always been somebody about like numeric keeping of score. And Twitter is the ultimate version of that. You put out a tweet, and you can see how many people are retweeting it, how many people are liking it. And I think on some level, he can't keep himself from doing that. The immediate gratification. And it is effective in the sense of keeping that, intense, 20% or whatever it is of the country that's like really super behind him, motivated and whipped up. I don't know, I think that, politically, if he had gone in a different direction, he might have been able to broaden his support and might be cruising to re-election now rather than being in a situation where, it looks kind of dicey, despite a very good economy or whatever, because it does have the effect of sometimes even sort of alienating people who are very much inclined to support him. It is effective at the thing that worked for him before, like when he was running for president, which is keeping himself the center of the story and keeping his base whipped up. It's not necessarily the thing that would serve him best maybe as president politically, but I don't think he thinks in those terms. I think he is somebody who does the thing that has worked well for him in the past and just keeps trying to do more of it until it ultimately fails him.
Have you ever had the Democratic Party tell you that this is the Bible they're going to follow?
I wish I could, I could start charging a consultant's fee, and I have not. I would hope that immodestly, anybody who kind of wants to understand something about how this part of politics works today reads this, because I can't tell you how to win an election, but I think that studying how TV and culture functions kind of tells you about how they've been won in the past. I do think it's interesting when you watch the Democratic debates today that I feel that in addition to all the surface debates about this or that policy, healthcare, the economy, foreign policy or whatever, there's a meta debate that's going on that is about tone and media strategy that is essentially in this reality TV environment of politics where, we live, breathe, eat, drink, and sleep, Donald Trump. How will I break through? How will I advance the message of the Democratic Party? And I think everyone has a little bit of a different approach to it. There's not necessarily one right answer, but I think that that's an interesting thing to keep your eye on as the primary continues.
The name of the book is Audience of One, Donald Trump Television and the Fracturing of America. James, thank you for being part of our program today. And I got a feeling we'll see this a lot in the election.
I sure hope so. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.